Hi, everybody. Welcome to another mini episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, who's in a mediocre game with me tonight.
Michael K. Hughes.
And I will announce this because this was my pick. Sadness. We are playing 1995 Super Nintendo? Wow. 91. We are playing Captain Commando.
Oh, jeez.
That came out in arcade 1991, Super Nintendo 1995, made by Capcom.
That's a 4-year difference. Wow.
That's a long time. Why? So it's a game on the Capcom Beatem collection. We both played it on PC. I have played it so I have memories of playing this game as a kid at my friend's house. He had a sleepover, a bunch of us, and we're all sitting there, and this is one of the random games that he had in Super Nintendo that we were just playing, and we sucked at it, so we never got that far, but I always had fond memories. I have, until today, I have always told everyone, this is a good game. This is a cool beat 'em up for the Super Nintendo. And
maybe the Super Nintendo version is better.
I doubt that. I think I haven't played it since the 90s, so my memory of it was, packed away in little rolls boxes.
Could be.
I'm pretty sure.
Put away by top men.
Why is that joke always funny to me? Yeah, top men working on it. Top men. Yeah, put it in the crate and put it in the warehouse. But that's what should have happened again. This game should have been put away in my memory and just put off to the side. The only reason we're even talking about this is because we did our top 10 mech episode, which you should be hearing by this time. Tony had mentioned how Baby Commando is one of his favorite mechs of top 10. I'm like, okay, we should play this. And so I decided to volunteer this game to be a Capcom Beat 'em Up collection that we played.
Mm-hmm. And since we've already done 2 of the other games of the Beat 'em Up collection, figure why not keep going?
Yeah. It could have been King Arthur, could have been King of Dragon, but no, we played Captain Commando.
Yeah, of the 3 we've played so far, this is, spoilers for the rest of the episode, this one's easily the weakest of the ones we've done.
So it's a regular beat 'em up, like you played many times, that we have played many times, but it wasn't really fun for me.
Mm-hmm. It's very generic. Like, we cycled through all 4 of the characters. You got Captain Commando, Mac the Knife, who's a mummy, Ginsu the Ninja, which is a very timely 90s reference to a brand of steak knives that I don't think anyone's going to know about anymore. And then a baby in the mech. Baby head.
But they all play the same.
Exactly, yeah. Like, we couldn't find any discernible differences between the 4 of them.
The only real difference is they each have a special which drains your health, so it's not even that good of specials anyway.
Yeah. They're just kind of area attacks.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's faster, anybody's really slower. Like, I was thinking, okay, maybe one guy's going to hit harder or, be just slow. Like, your normal beat 'em up type, you'd be fast, your mid character, and then your slower character. But they all feel the same kind of slow.
Mm-hmm.
None of them feel like, I feel like the ninja might have been faster, but it might have just been the way he felt. I don't know.
Yeah. And granted, this is an early game for beat 'em up standards, especially from that collection. I think we found that Final Fight was the oldest, but this one was second in 91. But I don't know, it feels very generic. Like, Armored Warriors had the whole variant armor system, so you could swap parts and stuff with the mechs, and then Battle Circuit was just kind of weird Saturday morning cartoon, and this just kind of felt in that weird gray area where it didn't do anything to really stand out.
No, I mean, if we said we have 4 characters to pick from, and one, as you mentioned, is a generic ninja, Ginsu, which is my favorite of the 4, but none of them really, nothing stands out. I mean, Captain Commando, I guess, stands out the most because he's been in other things.
Yeah, he went on to be in Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2, where he can use his specials to summon the other 3 members.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a very generic beat 'em up. I mean, we played the arcade version, which looks better than the SNES version, of course, because it's not censored either.
Yeah, there's a lot more, I don't want to say gore, but it's more adult in this game than I expected.
Yeah, like one with the ninja in the arcade version, you can cut people in half, where in the SNES version, they did not get cut in half.
Yeah, and Matt can melt people with his knives somehow, and there are guns littered everywhere, and missile launchers and stuff, and just none of them are in the Super Nintendo version, apparently.
Oh, not even the missile launchers?
Yeah, nothing. It's just like, wow.
I mean, that could have been partly that the SNES couldn't handle it, but I feel like a lot of that was just they were censoring things because that's what they do.
Yeah.
On Super Nintendo.
It's like the smoking enemies that we saw, and you immediately call out, those are going to be in the Super Nintendo version. Oh, sure enough.
That was my favorite little thing where you walk into a level, you start a level, and there's just 2 guys sitting there just having a cigarette. waiting for you, and I'm just like, well, that ain't gonna be anywhere else.
Even the mech enemies aren't in there, which I don't know. Maybe that might be hardware limitations because I don't know if maybe it couldn't handle the mechs, the character getting in them and whatnot. I don't know, but they're not in there at all either.
That seems weird, but yeah, it probably was. Probably was a limitation. Yeah, this Nintendo, wasn't as powerful as some arcades were.
Well, yeah,
I'm not sure, but I mean,
I don't know.
But some stuff is straight up sense. Like you fight a bunch of female enemies in this game that are like in very scantily clad, and they have more clothes on in the SNES version. You can't see their asses. That was not a hardware issue. That was we don't want to put that in our Super Nintendo game.
They weren't as good as the biker chicks from Battle Circuit.
No, they were not. I mean, I had been like really excitedly wanting to play this game for years because like I said before, I played the Super Nintendo version. But I've never been good at it because I'm not good at beat 'em ups. I just can't get through them ever unless I have infinite credits like I did in this game because arcade.
What you need?
Oh, it's a quarter muncher. And that annoyed me because I don't like. I mean, I have played many beat 'em ups now, and some you can play and they don't feel like they cheat you. I felt cheated all the time by the enemies in this game.
Yeah, it's like. It seemed like everyone had long iframes after you hit them a few times. And then a couple of the bosses in the last couple of stages are just absolutely there to sap your quarters.
Yeah, and it's really, we'll get there, but yeah, like it's all the time. I mean, one thing cool is that the world keeps changing the levels, like any beat 'em up, you have different levels, and I like the different levels, like how you start off in a city and you're kind of running around doing some things, and you go to a museum. Like that's the stuff that stuck with me and always made me want to play this game.
I'll give them points for originality on the levels because man do they get weird. So like Mike said, you go from the city to the museum and the third stage is Ninja House. Like what?
Yeah. But it's cool.
Yeah, I mean it just seemed like an excuse to throw in a bunch of assets from other games and call it a ninja level.
Yeah, and the bosses didn't like even the first couple bosses, none of them like stuck with me. They're just like one guy, his name is SHT Rom Jr. So we were just calling him Shit Rom the whole time.
I guess it's Strom, but I don't know. All the bosses are just really generic. They're just big guys.
I mean, the enemies are mostly generic, too. There's nothing, like, really special about most of them. Most of them are regular guys you just fight over and over again, palette swaps and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the bosses, like you were saying, nothing that special. First guy's a big guy. Second one's a guy with a harpoon. Just throws harpoons at you. But hey, in the arcade version, you can get M16s you can carry and shoot with. Which is really funny in an arcade game where you're sitting there driving an M16 where you're fighting ninjas and stuff. It's just odd.
Where you're playing as a ninja gunning down guys with a machine gun.
It's such a strange game.
And then the fourth stage is called Circus Camp. I got nothing on that. Like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
You go through the Circus Camp and then there's a backstage secret laboratory.
But in the Circus Camp, there is a part that's always stuck with me because it's in the SNES version, but I don't think you can drive the mechs. You fight guys with mech, and there's a bunch of guys around the arena that are cheering, that are like booing you and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But in the arcade version, you can actually drive the mechs, which is cool. But it wasn't.
The standard henchmen look very, I would say Saturday morning cartoon, but I can't really place anything that they look like. I don't know, man. It's garbage. It's weird. It's just generic. Everything feels so generic. Everyone looks generic. It's
a kind of a generic game. And you have Dr. Frankenstein and his monster pretty much. You fight a giant monster and the guy is called Dr. TW, not to be confused with Dr. W, Wily.
His name is Dr. T Water.
He looks just like Dr. Wily though.
Yeah, he looks like an Astro Boy character, which I guess is what Mega Man's kind of based on, so.
Okay.
That fits.
I mean, one thing that would have been fun about this game, like in arcades, you could do, 3-player co-op.
Mm-hmm.
We did 2-player co-op for this game, but I mean, like the fact that you could do that, I think is what also makes this game very special. At least it's kind of special. If the SNES would have been a 2-player co-op game. That's why I played it back in the day.
Definitely why people gravitate towards Ninja Turtles and X-Men, because they had 4- and 6-player co-op. Definitely adds to the fun when you're not just suffering alone.
But it wasn't like we played a few beat 'em ups on the show, and I played a lot in my time. But this wasn't very fun.
Then the fifth stage is the only one that gives you any kind of gameplay change, where it's basically sewer surfing from Turtles. You're riding on these surfboards and gunning down ninjas and whatnot. It's so weird.
And all it made you want to do was go play Turtles time.
An actually good beat 'em up.
Oh, and apparently if you have 3 characters, it looks like one just hovers in place because there's only 2 boards.
Like,
Because I'm watching this, and there's one guy in the walkthrough I'm watching, the other guy's just sitting there. He's on a board, but he's not moving. I don't know if that's maybe they're not playing, but nothing's happening, so I'm assuming he's not really there. It's a special game. But you have like a time fight. You have to fight the doctor on the boat, and all of a sudden you get a bunch of guns.
Yeah. So when we played it, I just gunned down this doctor driving away in his little speedboat with a machine gun, and he died. And like as he's dying, the boat's exploding. And he kind of like melts away. Mm-hmm. Very bizarre. The violence seems out of place in a game like this.
Yeah, such a strange game. And all the enemies look you fight a lot of the same sprites, which is just a guy in a green jumpsuit with a yellow hood, yellow boots, and yellow gloves.
Mm-hmm.
And you get a variation of that with purple and yellow, but it's just a strange game. There's enemies that look like xenomorphs too in this game, kind of like guys in xenomorph suits with claws.
They just have like suits on, but they're called Z, like just the letter Z, so it really felt like it was a reference to xenomorph.
It's a beat 'em up that I actually held in high regard until today.
Until you played it again.
Yeah. My rose-colored glasses remember this being a fun game, but I also never got very far. Like I don't think I've ever seen past the 4th level because we just wouldn't make it because it's hard.
It's not like you're missing out because the 6th level is the aquarium, but they don't take advantage of that setting. You're not fighting like fish people or anything. You got guys with harpoon guns. It's the closest you get to it, and then it's just all the same things you've been fighting the whole game again.
Yeah, there's not a lot of variety to this game. I mean, I'm a sucker for any game that shows me a map. Like this game, in between levels, you have a little map on the top screen to show you, it's progressing through the game, the different areas. Final Fight does the same thing too. And I'm a sucker for it.
I do like
Ghouls does it.
Yeah, Ghouls. I've definitely got a Ghouls and Ghosts vibe with it.
Yeah, Ghouls and Ghosts is just there to taunt you in the face. Like you'll never see that level.
Not without rewind.
Ghouls and Ghosts is that's a game. First game I ever had was Super Ghouls and Ghosts. My mom bought it for me when she bought my Super Nintendo. That did not go over too well. That game, I could not play it. That's another story. But I don't know. If we were saying before, each character has a special, but they're not really even that good of specials, and they also take up your health because, arcade beat 'em up. Like the ninja shoots a smoke cloud.
Yeah, something. I'm not really sure what he does. The baby just shoots kind of a little rocket out of his knee, and it explodes right in front of him.
Captain Commando does like electric attack on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And the mummy guy spins.
That electrical move is one of the things that Captain Commando can do in Marvel vs. Capcom, so at least they stayed true to that.
That's cool. See, I've always liked this character. I don't like his game anymore, though.
He does have a cool design. He's probably got the coolest design out of anyone in the game.
Yeah, because the ninja is a generic ninja. The mummy is just a guy who looks like he somewhere from the 90s, but cut as a mummy. He's really, isn't he wearing like overalls and a hat on backwards? Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, he looks like somebody from the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, the 90s are coming back, I guess. So, I don't know. But mummy's he's not cool. I only used him a couple of times. He somehow melts people, but I don't know.
It's something to do with his knives.
But I was just a little disappointed that nobody really played that differently, that they all kind of played the same. That there wasn't noticeable differences in speed or power or anything.
Mm-hmm. I thought maybe Mac had a little longer reach, but then I switched to Ginsu, and I still see him the same. He just doesn't attack straight ahead like Mac does. So
yeah, I mean, and they all have just nothing really felt different. We played as all 4 characters, both of us, and we didn't notice anything. That kind of bugged me.
Mm-hmm. And it is just jump and attack. This is one of those classic 2-button arcade games.
Yeah, but you can even do stuff like I think Turtles in Time was a 2-button, and that's a great game.
Yeah. So you do the dash attacks in this too, which adds a little variety, I guess, to the combat.
Yeah, I mean, I was never good at getting them off or didn't like them or something. I don't know. I did not like the baby at all, though, unlike Tony.
Nah.
I just didn't. I don't know. A baby in a mech, to me, is just stupid. I mean, it's funny, but I don't like it.
It's different.
I like the generic ninja the most.
Mm-hmm.
I also like the fact that he cuts people in half, too.
Yeah, it just made me want to play Ninja Warriors.
That's a good game. So I want to say then you go in like an underground lab or something? Is the next level?
Yeah, I don't remember anything from this level until you get to the boss. Because you go into this office room and he's sitting at a desk. He goes down this hidden elevator beneath the desk and the desk explodes. You jump down, it does a star wipe, shows your character falling through the tube, does another star wipe, and then you're the boss arena. It's like, even Mike's like, was that necessary?
I feel like it was a loading screen.
I don't know, man.
It's stupid. And then the funny thing is you fight a boss, his name is Blood, but in the Super Nintendo version, his name is Boot.
Yeah. Yeah, this is my favorite censorship. They changed his name to Boots, which is just makes me think of Dora the Explorer.
It's just some like big guy. Again, nothing stands out. There were no enemies in this game that go, oh, you're fighting this thing, you're fighting this. No, it's just a big guy who jumps across the room and takes away your quarters.
Mm-hmm. It's nothing like Night Warriors where you're fighting the demon puppet on like the second level. Man, that thing will stick with you.
And that was one of my issues. It's like I like bosses to stand out. I want to be something that I remember, and there was none of that in this game.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just nothing. And again, like any beat 'em up, they have the multiple health bars that don't go away because beat 'em up.
They do something kind of interesting. I noticed it's like it starts as a color and then it kind of degrades until it gets to yellow, and then it becomes a normal health bar.
That's a normal trope, though. I think.
I mean. Other games they'll have multiple health bars, so you'll drain the green one, and then it turns to yellow, and then down to red. But this one, it actually like kind of does a color degradation, which is kind of cool.
Maybe Final Fight's the same. It's been a long time I played a Final Fight game.
Yeah, I've never played those either.
Wow, that will change. Those I remember being good games. That better not change. I'll be very upset if that memory is tainted too, like this was.
Mm-hmm.
And then after you do the laboratory, I think you go to the after you underground base, then you go to enemy spaceship. They couldn't even give it a name, like whatever the name of the crime group that you're fighting, because I guess you're fighting some crime syndicate or something. It looks like.
Yeah, to be fair, we were having trouble getting Steam to cooperate, so we didn't see the opening sizzle reel. So all the story was probably there, but
yeah,
what little story there be in a 1991 beat 'em up anyway?
There was nobody stealing the Statue of Liberty, that's for sure.
That's right.
That's all you need, damn it. I don't know. I mean, I just feel like it could have been something. I mean, I would say Battlestar had actually had a story, but that was 1997 though when that came out. I'll give this game. Armor Warriors had somewhat of a story, but that was also 94. This is or older, so but just the enemy spaceship, just kind of generic spaceship, generic enemies. You get rocket launcher, but everything in this game is just so generic.
This was the level where the girls came out and electrified the floor in like waves. It's like they just run up and we didn't have any time to react. We just kept getting electrocuted.
Well, the opening of the level, we just both ran for like you do in every single fighter, and they just electrocute you right away because they're just coming right when the level starts.
This is a dick move.
It's called quarter, please. Thank you. That's what it's called.
That's the boss of this level. The Doppelganger Boss, which is this fat guy in a big green suit. He looks like Hugo Strange from Batman. But then he like splits into multiple versions of himself, and they all change into the Commando team. So you're fighting doppelgangers of your characters. And
then they split into, and then he splits again. Then he splits again. And at one point, we killed one, and another one came out. I'm like, come on now, because there were three for a good chunk of the fight, and then all of a sudden when I killed one, there were three again. And then I was like, don't tell me the guy's a full health bar again.
I want to say one of the Shredder fights in one of the NES Turtles games does something similar to this, where he keeps making clones of himself, and you have to, like, it changes which one the real one is every time he makes a new one. That sounds familiar. I'd have to look it up, but
I can't tell you. I haven't played the NES ones. I've never played them very far, other than like the first couple levels of each one.
Yeah, they're cool for what they are. They're NES versions of arcade games, but man, are they tough.
And they'll be on the show someday, I'm sure.
Someday.
So it was just annoying fighting clones. Like, I mean, at first and it's only up to 3 because the game can only support 3 players, which I did not know until I was Googling more stuff. But I mean, fighting doppelgangers, I never liked that. And we were getting confused who was who too. I mean, they're different. They're a palette swap of you essentially with like an orange tone, but still it was annoying.
Yeah, when there's 3 or 4 enemies running around while you're fighting with 2 people, it gets confusing.
And then you get to the last level, which is called Callisto.
A planet, I think, according to the map.
Yeah, you took the spaceship to a planet, I guess.
And again, I don't remember anything from this level other than the boss, which is the final boss.
There is one thing to remember. The weird statues you see, which look like the final boss, sitting in the background with a bunch of women around him. They switch where the women are. They just swap the palettes. They swap palettes and they swap the position of the sprites.
Yeah, they mirrored it.
And it's just like, what? That threw me. And then you have a picture of Jesus in this level, too.
I think you're fighting the bosses again, but like we said, they're so immemorable. I didn't recognize them.
Yeah, it's definitely the first boss again, because I think we even cut him in half too, because I hit him with a ninja. But you fight a bunch of the bosses all over again, because that's what you want to do when you beat them up.
Yeah.
You don't fight all of them. I think you just fight like 1 or 2, maybe just the first one again. And then you get to the final boss fight. Why don't you talk about this guy? Because you had a good description of him.
He's got the stupidest name, first of all. His name is Scumocide, which is a 90s villain if ever I heard one. But he looks like Apocalypse from the X-Men. He's just got this weird pink tone to him. He looks kind of like Flesh Tone, a little darker. But he's got these tubes coming out of his head. It looks like it gives him horns like Mataro from Mortal Kombat 3, the weird centaur guy. So he's Apocalypse with what looks like horns and this spinning disc over his head. And this is meant to eat all of your quarters. This boss sucks.
It was bad. Like, he freezes you, he burns you, and when you get burned or frozen, you're stalled for a bit too. So your other partner is going to get their ass handed to him because you're not even there to do things. Like, it is just, and I think he has iframes all the time. I think he's invincible constantly. Yeah,
he'll flash like pink and you can't damage him during it.
Oh, and he just floats around the level and he moves pretty fast too. And it is just, he has so much health too.
Mm-hmm.
I think we died we died a few times on him, and we unlimited continues, of course. But
I lost track for sure.
I was paying attention, but I mean, I had enough to play through all 4 characters and then play through some over again. So decent amount.
Yeah.
It's just so annoying. It wasn't fun. I mean, he just looked so funny.
His design will stick with him just because he looks like other characters. So
he looks a lot like Apocalypse, and of course he's half naked too. He has a little thing covering his crotch, and that's about it, and gauntlets and boots.
Yeah, he's got like the blue on his outfit that makes him look like Apocalypse. He's got that same stuff.
Yeah, it's like a naked. It's like, what would happen if Apocalypse would decide to be naked instead? Well, here's your answer. That's about the best way to sum this up.
I just want to know who's asking that question.
I don't know, but somebody I'm sure did. So there's your answer. And then you get an ending screen, which is not in the Super Nintendo version.
Oh man, I would have been pissed if I had finally beaten this game and he's getting nothing in return.
Yeah, because in the arcade version, you get a little screen that shows like, oh, they saved the day, and there's some broken TVs, and the president is talking, and it says that the super criminals have been defeated, and Captain Commando hacks the TV and then says they did it.
Super criminals.
This concept, they couldn't even give him a name for the crime syndicate. Like, couldn't you give him something? Yep, and then Captain Commando. But in the Super Nintendo version, all you get is just a little star that comes on the screen that says, you beat it.
My favorite part about the ending is where Captain Commando says, let me pull up the screenshots, says, super criminals try to take over the world. Some modicum of peace may finally be restored to our troubled planet. not troubled, our troubled planet.
Well, not to mention earlier, he says city, not planet, that he's talking to people. And they're like, so it's just, what? Also, when the hell do you hear the word modicum?
Is Captain Commando 1991.
Like, it's not a word I've heard like anytime recently. It was just odd to me. I'm like, really, modicum? That's the word you go with? I can't even give the definition of that word. I think I can figure out what it means, but I'm like, modicum? Why modicum? Yeah. Couldn't it be like some form of peace, something? Just, I mean, again, it's just stupid to me, but it's not why I didn't enjoy the game.
No, we didn't enjoy the game because it's generic.
And we like generic crap too, though, on the show, I feel like. But before we wrap this up, I do want to talk about the Super Nintendo cover. I've always had a thing for this cover. I thought it looked cool. Captain Commando on the cover, punching the ground, and I've always liked this character.
Mm-hmm. I always get this character confused with Sonic Blast Man, because I think they come out around the same time, and they're both kind of generic beat-em-ups.
Yeah, but Sonic Blast Man, the first one, is only one player. That's one of the problems with it, and that came out in 1990. But yeah, that's another generic beat-em-up too. The only thing that Sonic Blast Man has going for it is in between boss levels, you get to do a little mini game thing in between levels.
I wouldn't wait for that one to be on the show.
Sonic Blast Man's a better game than this.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. But it's more varied. And I mean, it's been a little while since I played it for the show. Not for the show, but during the show. But we'll see. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it might have been better than this game. I had high memories of this game, and then I played it, and I don't anymore.
It sounds like a shelf stacker box comment.
That's about to happen. Anything else you want to say about him being in Marvel vs. Capcom?
No, it was basically what I figured. It's just him, and he can summon the other Commando team as his special attacks. It's cool that they decided to make the character live on, even though they should have just got someone from Armored Warriors. But I mean,
but that never really. I mean, it came here, but it never came here in Super Nintendo where Captain Commando did.
Yeah, and his name is Capcom, so of course they had to go with him.
Oh, and Captain Commando's real name is Mars Carlis.
Okay.
I got it. But that's what I found out when I was Googling it. Also, there's never been a sequel to this game.
Yeah, that's weird.
I mean, it is weird if you ask me. I mean, yes, the game isn't that great, but you think there would have been something.
Especially as much as Capcom likes to throw out sequels to stuff all the time.
You can Google it, and it says Captain Commando is a sequel to the 2 is a sequel to beat 'em up game. It will be released for Wii U, Xbox One, PS4, 3DS, Vita, and PS3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Waiting for that Wii U version.
Yeah, I don't think that's coming out. I mean, Google had something on it, one of those wiki sites, but I'm like, yeah, that's gone. Unless someone wants to fan make it, it's not coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all I got for.
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right, should we go on a shelf stacker box?
Sure. I got a feeling I know where they're going.
Why don't you go first?
This is gonna go in the box. Like I said, this is the third game we've played so far. This Capcom Beat 'em Up collection, and it's easily the weakest of the three. Armored Warrior had the weapon variant system, and Battle Circuit was just weird fun, and this is just generic, as we keep saying. So I don't need to play it. It just made me want to go play better beat 'em ups like Turtles and Streets of Rage and whatnot. So nah, I'm good.
I'll go next. This is a game that's also going to go in the box. I have thought very highly of it. I have talked about it. I told Mike, it's a good game. You're going to enjoy it. I was excited to try it. And I wish I wouldn't have, because now I'm just sad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my memories of it sitting at my friend's house, being up all night, and we're playing this and playing other games. And I've had good feelings about Captain Commando. I mean, it just was one of those games that always has stuck with me. It's one of those Super Nintendo games. It was a cool beat 'em up, and it was 2 players, and I haven't touched it since the 90s, and now I go back to it in 2021, and I'm just like, this wasn't... I mean, I'm okay with games being old. I like old games, but I need some kind of, like... Even if you would have made the characters one guy faster, one guy, stronger, like, Final Fight does that too, just fine with Hagar and stuff, and just something to switch it up just a little, and I will be more into your beat 'em up. And I don't know what it was. It was just it was just like we said many times, it was so generic, but I like Final Fight. Final Fight's kind of generic too, but not this generic. Yeah, it's going in the box, and I will not be speaking highly of, will not be recommending this game to anybody ever again. And I mean, if you had the Capcom Beat 'em up, play it because it's there, but it's not great.
Yeah, you can get through it in less than an hour. So if you're really interested, it is doable.
And just buy the Beat 'em collection just because it's worth it for everything else you get in there.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is not, but everything else so far we played.
We got like 5 more games than that to go, I think.
Yes. I don't want to say it in case it's depending on when this gets released, but yes, we have other games to go in that list. All right, I think that about sums up everything we need to say about this game.
Yeah, I'd say.
So if you want to hear more of us talk about other beat 'em ups, there are other mini episodes where we covered Armored Warriors, or we covered Brain Froze,
Battle Circuit.
So definitely check those out. They're in the minis. You'll find them. I don't remember what they are at the moment. Didn't pull it up. So if you want to hear us talk about more beat 'em ups, look that up.
Yeah, we did Night Warriors back in Spooktober 2020. So there. If you want to hear us talk about better games, they are out there.
So yeah, and that about wraps up this episode. And if you enjoyed this, go check out the rest of our catalog. We do games, movies, comics. We do all sorts of episodes. So definitely go check those out. And we do more minis just like this, short little ones. Our intro and outro, courtesy of Bobby, a.k.a. Mike Stoney from CP Bite the Bullet, song to Cool Kids What. Definitely go check him out. And we have a Patreon. Who wants to throw us $1? Feel free. There's a Patreon. You'll see the link in the show notes. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. We are on YouTube. Please go follow us there. And leave a review on iTunes if you like. And we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.